Patrick Bet David has some great insight for us. He talks about three types of people in the world, and you brought this story to us here. I'm gonna pull it up, and uh,
It's funny.
I
It's funny too. I'm bringing it up. I want to talk about it, but it's also funny because I reposted and made a comment echoing
mm,
what he was saying, and it played out in real time on my Twitter feed. So
wow.
let's watch it, and then we can break it down.
Bet.
So something interesting happened last weekend driving back from Sarasota with my two sons and Vinny. We're at a tournament for one of my sons, soccer tournament. They faced this one team. The moment the coach blew the whistle and they started playing, I'm like, wait a minute. What the hell is going on? We won the first game 5-2. And then I see this team. And I'm sitting next to one of the fathers, the father of number 10, player number 10, and he's recording the whole thing. And I'm seeing not one error being made. And I said, wait a minute, what are you guys doing here? He says, what do you mean? I said, why are you guys this good? He starts laughing. I said, how often do you guys practice a day? He says, oh, we don't practice. I said, what do you mean you don't practice? We train. What the hell is the difference?
Mm.
We train 4 hours a day. You train 4 hours a day. Yes. Okay. How do you do schooling with your kids? He says, oh, every kid that's on this team, their plan is to go to Premier League or play MLS. Who's the coach? Such and such. Who is he? Top 10 all-time scorer in the history of U.S. players. I Googled the name. Damn. Okay, good. How is he trained? Hardcore driving, pushing, challenging kids. I mean, guys, kids are stuck in the corner. Like they could potentially make a mistake and they could get a corner. They don't just kick it out of balance like a typical kid does. He forces you to fight to get out of it. He's telling me, the father's telling me, he says, watch, if they kick it out, you will be running laps and you will not play the rest of the game. I'm like, interesting. So I said, how many hours a day? 4 hours a day. I said, where were you guys ranked? He says, we were ranked last year #1 nationally. Really? Yeah. Obvious, it makes sense. So then we get in a car and we're driving back from Sarasota. They got their asses handed to them. Now we need to have a conversation. So, you know when you got two kids and you're talking to one of them, but you're really talking to both of them, and you kind of want the message to be received by both, and you love all your kids equally. So I'm sitting there saying, here's how life works. We have to make a decision on what you want to do. I said, in life, there's three different types of people. There's those who are interested. There's those that are committed, but then there's those that are obsessed. What do you mean? I said, look, when I was a kid, I was interested in collectible cards. I was interested in baseball. I was interested in basketball. I wasn't committed. I was just interested. First time I went from interested to committed to obsessed was with bodybuilding. I became obsessed. Everything for me was about bodybuilding. Guess what? No one had to tell me to go to the gym. My dad never worked out. My mother never told me to go. I didn't have anybody who wanted me to go to the gym. I was full-blown obsessed after
We
I
can pause
read
it
a
right there.
book, and I'm like, I want to be Mr. Olympia.
Mm.
So if you scroll up in the actual post, he breaks it down, but he basically says that he said the obsessed annoyed the interested, the committed respect the obsessed, and the interested will never understand the obsessed. And the point being is if you're an entrepreneur who really wants to build something of meaning beyond just maybe just like a lifestyle company
Mhm.
or just being there's a lot of interested people who
Yeah.
call themselves entrepreneurs. Oh, I'm an entrepreneur, but I also have a W-2. Oh, I'm an entrepreneur, but like, oh, this is my side hustle. Oh, I'm an entrepreneur, but it's just me, right? It's like you can't really call yourself an entrepreneur if you have a job, right? If the business can't run without you. Um, and so I think it's just a good reminder for everybody. But
Yeah.
what I said is I made a post resharing that, and it said something along the lines of, "This is why I don't have many friends, right, that I just hang out with, right? I have my wife and I have my business partners. And then everything else basically takes a back seat." And people were, beating me up saying, this isn't true. It's like, I said something along the lines, you only have time for three of these four things: family, fitness, friends, and faith. And I said, I already know what's going to take a back seat in the grand scheme of things outside of my business, right? It's going to be, I don't do guys trips. I don't golf. I don't hunt. I don't do any of that, right? And it's true. It's if you're going to build something within a season, like it is required of you to
Yeah.
become obsessed. And
I totally get it, and sometimes I'm like, and sometimes, honestly, sometimes I'm a little bit like, time out on the obsessed word, just because in all the motivational videos, they're like, you gotta be obsessed, you know. And this is a different context, and even what you're saying is different. It's like, if this really matters to you, if this is really what you're trying to do, who you're trying to become, it is your utmost prioritization
correct.
within the lines of those things that are non-negotiables, like our family, our children, so forth. But what's
It's
very clear,
priority.
yeah, exactly. That was the word I was about to say. It was prioritization. I actually just saw a clip from Alex Hormozy over this weekend. A college student was talking to him, and he was like, "Oh man, I'm trying to figure this out. I'm so busy." And Hormozy just like is like, "You can't even fathom what busy is." And then
Yeah.
he tells him like, "No one gives a crap anyways." So, and the kid receives it. The kid's like, "Awesome." But the point is, from Hormozy's thing, what he was just saying, how you'll never have more time than you have now to prioritize. He's like, "Do you have kids? Do you have a wife?" Kid's like, "No." He's like, "You have more time than you will ever have in your life, and no one
100%.
cares that you're busy." But the point being is, like, those who are really serious have the actions that follow that. Like we talked about last week, right? Faith without works is dead, right?
100%. Having owned a gym for a long time and been around fitness for a long time, um, the people who are obsessed, maybe even step down from that, just committed,
Mhm.
they organize their whole day around making sure they have time to go train, right? They don't go, here's everything else I got to do. And then if there's room left over, I'll exercise.
Yeah.
They go, no, this is the time on the calendar when I train, and everything else fits into that ecosystem.
Mhm.
And that's different. It's just prioritization. But I get enough from our friendships within business, partnerships, employees, meeting with, people in my business circle, that I don't feel the need to just go like hang out, watch football, drink, golf, whatever,
Mhm.
guys trip, that because it's just so low on the priority for me. And I think that people way overvalue that, like, oh, I need time with my friends. And so something has to give at a certain point, right?
Yeah.
You're going to sacrifice your health, you're going to sacrifice your family or your friendships or your faith. One of those things is going to give.
Well, and that's the thing too, that notion of I gotta have everything,
Yeah,
any and everything, and have it all at once too. And it's
correct.
that's a fatal blow to whatever outcome you're trying to secure.